In today's video, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on some of the small things that I think really make being a vinyl record collector so fun and special. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, I thought it would be really interesting to talk about some of the small, underrated things that really make the vinyl hobby so special, and part of the reasons why we keep coming back despite the growing prices and the inconvenience of it all year after year. Of course, there is always a downside to every positive side, so in another video, I'm going to talk about some of the small annoyances of being a vinyl record collector. But for now, let's keep it positive and let's start with number one. All right, so number one on my list is, if you're a vinyl record fan, if you are a vinyl record collector, then that means that you get to actually interact with something that is physical, something that is tangible. You can hold the music that you love in your hands and display it proudly in your room. Now, in this modern digital world where a lot of music is on hard drives and on your computer, you don't even see it because you just scroll through it on your phone, and companies are even now trying to get us into the metaverse. It's really nice to be able to hold an actual record in your hands. You get the ability to be able to put a record on a platter. You get to move the tone arm over to the groove of the record, push the lever down to get the stylus into the groove, and then that's when the magic actually begins. Although the modern conveniences when it comes to music and all things technology are really impressive, there is some kind of a special kind of magic when it comes to playing records on turntables. We all know technically how it works, but even after over 100 years after the invention of the phonograph, it still is really unbelievably impressive what a turntable can do. Alright, so number two on my list when it comes to the small joys of being a vinyl record collector is being able to proudly show off your vinyl record collection. Now these days, it seems that people are really trying to take a minimalist approach to life. People don't really want to own too much, they don't really want to invest in physical things that are going to weigh them down. But again, I think there's something really special about being able to see a visual representation of the music that you love. Album artwork really just doesn't hit the same way when you're looking at it on an Android phone, or an iPhone, or a cassette tape, or a CD jewel case. Not the same. Being able to show off a really nice square piece of artwork, 12 by 12 dimensions, putting it inside of a record holder or propping it up against a wall, and being able to say to yourself and other people in the room, I really love that piece of music, well, I think that's something special and definitely a small joy when it comes to record collecting. Now, at the end of the day, we should always be collecting records because, well, we love the music. It really shouldn't matter what other people think. But if you are interested in showing off your record collection to other people in your life, what is going to be a better way to do it? Showing them your physical record collection, or pulling out your hard drive, opening up a few digital folders, and scrolling through your audio files? I think we all know the answer. Alright, so number three on my list is mixing and matching audio components and turntable accessories to really get the perfect sound coming out of your speakers. One of the things I actually like the most about the vinyl record hobby is all of the various things that we can do as individuals to be able to tweak our audio setups to really suit our particular tastes. Now, you might go through a phase where you like your music to sound a bit cooler when you're listening to it, and you buy certain components and accessories to be able to accentuate that particular sound that you really enjoy. But as time goes on, maybe your thoughts change a bit. Maybe you actually want your music to sound a bit brighter on the top end. And if that's the case, well, maybe you buy a different cartridge or a different phono preamp, and you can kind of tweak the sound to that particular need. Or maybe you might start listening to different types of music entirely. And maybe you want that music to sound a bit more lush, a bit more lively, a bit more warm at the top end. Well, you might then buy different types of equipment to be able to get that particular sound to come out of your speakers. I love the fact that no matter whether you have a small budget or an absurdly high budget, no matter whether you want to buy brand new modern day equipment or you want to buy vintage equipment, there's always going to be a way to be able to get the sound that you're particularly looking for to come out of your speakers. Alright, so the next thing on my list when it comes to the small joys of being a vinyl record collector is the vinyl record community. Now, in my opinion, whether you've been collecting vinyl records for just a couple of years or you've been collecting vinyl records for decades and decades, there's nothing better than seeing satisfied vinyl record collectors enjoying their music and proudly showing it off online as well. It's always fun to see what kind of music other people like and maybe see how that music has shaped their particular lives. As I've interacted with different people in the hobby over the years online, I've really been able to see how people have gotten into the hobby, how they have grown within the hobby, and how the music that they listen to has really been a soundtrack to their life. Regardless of the kind of music that you listen to, what turntable you purchased, or what phono preamp you have, it's really nice to see people looking at other people's collections and maybe being inspired by what they have. Perhaps looking at somebody's record that's proudly displayed and asking, who made that album? How much did that cost? How'd you set that up? Where'd you buy that particular shelving? And again, this is another one of those big wins for physical media, because there's really no tangible way that you would show off your Apple Music collection or your Spotify music collection. Alright, so the last thing on my list when it comes to the small joys of being a vinyl record collector is still seeing the vinyl hobby thriving all these years later in the modern age. Now, what would common sense tell you? Common sense would tell you that in the modern age, in the digital age that we live in now, vinyl records should have long been dead. When it comes to the technical advancement in music, it is a downright dinosaur, and it is very inconvenient and often expensive to just stay within the hobby, let alone keep up with it. There's nothing practical about vinyl records, and there's even videos on the internet talking about how toxic vinyl is. But here we stand, all these years later, and vinyl is still going pretty strong. Now, is it ever going to get back to the days of the 60s and 70s and 80s when it comes to popularity? No, that won't happen. But it doesn't need to happen to be viable. And I think that's what makes the vinyl record hobby so great. There's such a strong base keeping the vinyl record hobby going, and there's new people coming into the hobby, particularly young people that maybe are getting a little bit tired of kind of owning nothing in this digital age. Although things like 8-track tapes and laser discs and even Napster have come and gone, vinyl records are still here and going strong. And that is definitely a small joy that feels really, really big. If you enjoyed this video, put the words joy in the comment section below. And once again, it's never always sunshine and rainbows, so I will make another video about the small annoyances of vinyl as well. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button down below. I always appreciate it when you do that. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel devoted to vinyl if you want to be alerted whenever a new video drops. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, stay devoted to vinyl.